This is a lesson on creating a matching cards game. It is part 1 of a part 2 series. So in part 1, let's have an overall of what we're aiming to achieve. So when I click the green flag, voila, this is a matching cards game. When the game starts, the cards at the top right will be shuffled and placed in a white square. You need to click on a Spanish word and its matching numeral to make a pair. When you make a matching pair, the cards will disappear. If the match is an incorrect pairing, you will be asked to try again. To begin the game, click on the badge on my shirt and have fun. Now again, I am using the Spanish words for numbers 1 to 10 plus the numerals from 1 to 10. But in your game, it doesn't have to be matching a language with the numbers. It can be any sort of pairing game that you wish. So start thinking about what you would like in your game. So Abby said to click on the badge. So when we click on the badge, the code here says when I receive play game, she will hide. And then these cards will, there's numbers 1 to 10, and they'll be shuffled and placed into a square. So again, this is just part 1 of the game. Then in part 2, we will have, for the in the remaining squares, these would be taken up by the Spanish words for numbers 1 to 10. Part 1, we're going to have a look at creating this grid, first of all, as a background. We're going to look at the code for Abby. Then we're going to have a look at the sprite for the numerals. It's just one sprite with all the numbers as the separate costumes. And then we're going to have a look at the code for the badge. To create the grid ourselves, open Microsoft Word, a blank document. Then under Layout, we're changing the orientation to Landscape. We're going to insert a table, and we need 5 by 4. The measurement across the ruler, if you can't see your ruler, you click on View, then put a tick in Ruler. So there should be a ruler at the top of your page and to the left of your page. So measurement is going to be 0 to 23.5. So to move this back to about there, 23.5. Then down here it's going to be 16. So we pull this all the way down to 16. Now this is going to change when we add thicker borders, but this is the measurement for now. On Home, if you choose your Borders button, the arrow next to it we want, and then all the way down click on Borders and Shading. Then the border style is just a plain line, which is correct. The width we want to change to the widest width of 6. Under Apply, we need to have it set on the entire table, then OK. And it has created a second page, which we don't want. So just checking again, 23.5, so we just need to pull this out a little bit. And down to 16. Okay, so now we're at page 1 of 1. So this is the grid that we're going to bring through as the background. Please save, File, Save As, and save to wherever you've saved all your work for your coding. And and you can simply call it a grid. It's just a plain Word document, and save. Then we don't need this anymore, so we can close. Then in Scratch itself, you can go to the web-based version or the desktop version. You can open it. I need to do File, New, and cancel. I'm going to cancel this actually and leave. And I'm going to open Scratch Desktop. I didn't want to replace the work I'd done. Alright, so we're going to bring through that backdrop. So under the backdrop menu and then upload backdrop where you saved it. So double click, and we don't need the cat. So right click and delete. With the background itself, we do need to edit the costume. We don't want any sort of color in the background. So you see under the editing, under paint, it is transparent, but in the stage it shows as white, and the only white area we want is the squares. So we do need to put a color in the back. So I'm going to, under fill, change this to color to 14, saturation to 79, and brightness 100. So we've got the yellow color. Then fill and just click in the background. Let's bring through the first sprite, which will be Abby. Hover over the sprite menu and then choose. Get Abby up the top and place her bottom left. We don't need any other costumes. She's just going to talk and not move. Under code, to begin with Abby speaking, we do when the green flag is clicked. Then motion, because we've placed her in the position already, Scratch has picked up the XY coordinates. And then under looks, we want her to show. Under control, we will ask her to wait half a second, 0.5. She will then begin speaking, so under looks and choose say. She does a greeting of hola. This is a matching cards game. Have that run for 3 seconds. And after each sentence, we're going to do 0.5 wait time. Her next sentence, clicking on looks and say. When the game starts, the cards at the top right. When the game starts, the cards at the top right will be shuffled and placed in a white square. Have that run for 7 seconds. Control and wait 0.5. Under looks, her next sentence, so choose say. You need to click on a Spanish word and its matching numeral to make a pair, and that runs for 6 seconds. control and weight 0.5. Under looks, choose say. When you make a matching pair, comma, the cards will disappear and run for 6 seconds. Under control, weight 0.5. Under looks, say, if the match is in an incorrect pairing, comma, you will be asked to try again. Run for 6 seconds. Under control, weight 0.5. Looks and say her last sentence. To begin the game, click on the badge on my shirt. Full stop. Have fun! Exclamation mark, and run for 6. That's the end of that coding. And then we're going to make another sprite, which will be the badge, and it will sit on her shirt up on near her left shoulder. The next lot of coding for Abby will be under events, and I'll explain this when we actually make the broadcast. Her one is going to be when I receive new message play game. And you'll see how this connects once we've finished all the sprites. When I receive play game, under looks, she needs to hide. That's all the coding for Abby. For the badge, we go choose sprite and paint. Choose convert to bitmap, the eclipse, and we need the filled eclipse, a color of your choosing. I'm going to choose the purple, so color 74, saturation 78, brightness 100. Draw an eclipse. Then resize. So it's a size that will fit on Abby's shirt. Remember, it has to go in the central. Let's see what that looks like. Still a little bit too big. That's a good size, and just checking it's in a central position. Then I just need to place it closer to her shoulder. Under code, events, when the green flag is clicked, we want it to sit on her shirt. We go to motions and go to those coordinates. Then under looks, show. Then when the person clicks on the badge, we want the game to begin. So we need code for that. Under events, when this sprite is clicked, and this is where play game comes in. So under broadcast, the sprite actually broadcasts play the game, and that's a prompt for Abby to hide. So broadcast play game. Then this sprite needs to hide so it doesn't interfere with the game. And that's all the coding for the badge. The next sprite we're going to create is the numerals. It's one sprite, then 10 costumes with numbers 1 to 10. Under the sprite menu, hover and then choose paint. We're going to make sure we're on bitmap. Choose the square. You can choose any coloring that you want. I'm going to choose the red one that we've used in the past. So color 0, saturation 100, brightness 100. Make sure you're on the square and fill. And let's see how big this is. That's quite big. So we want it a size that fits neatly inside a square but doesn't take up too much of the room. So that's quite nice. We can hide Abby and the badge for now. So click on badge and hide, and click on Abby and hide. So I actually want this one to start at the top right. And let's zoom in. Make sure, select the square and make sure it's actually on the central position. Then we want to put the numbers in. So what we could do is duplicate this 10 times. So then we can just each square we can put in a colored number. The code will be the same for all the costumes. So let's duplicate this 10 times. Let's just go back to costume 1 and let's just make sure it's just called 1. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we come in and we do our numbers. I usually do the number on the side first. Choose your color. I'm going to go to 27, 79, and 73. To get our green, you can click on text. I'm going to choose, sans serif is okay. Click and number 1. Then click the outside and resize so it fits in the square. That looks quite nice, and that's number 1. Then number 2. We've already got our color. And 2, click on the side, resize, and fit in the square. So we continue until we've got 10. So I'm going to just pause and finish that. We should now have 10 costumes for one sprite. Each costume is numbering 1 to 10. On number 1, we're going to place the code. Click on your code tab, events, when the green flag is clicked. Motion, go to the XY coordinates, under looks, show. Then we want to set some numbering, which is under variables. And at the moment we don't have a variable called numbering or numbers. So make a variable and call it numbers. Then choose set under the drop down numbers and set this to 1. Then we're going to switch costume, so under looks, switch costume to, then instead of the numbers being, or the costumes being controlled by this one, we're going to go under variables and let's untick numbers. We're going to place number there, switch costume to number. Then another variable that we want, we're simply just going to call it n, and OK, and untick that. Then we want set under the drop down n to 1. Under control we want repeat. Nine times. So what this is going to do is go through and instead of us creating 10 different cards, it's going to make 10 cards of itself out of the costumes. So repeat 9 times. Under variable, change n by 1. So it's going to keep changing just by 1. And create a clone of myself. So under, I believe it's control. Yes, create a clone of myself. And this is simply saving space. We're not going to put 10 sprites up here. And it also helps us with a random shuffle. So if you're just asking it to clone or duplicate itself within the game, change the costume each time to the next costume. Then we end up with 10 different cards on our grid. So that's the code for that. Then still under control, when I start as a clone, so when there's a duplicate of myself, under variables, set numbers to n. Then under looks, switch costume to numbers. And all of this code is simply controlling each of these costumes when they're to appear, and they're appearing as a clone or duplicate of this one. Just the number inside is changing because of the costume. Then remember under the badge is broadcasting play the game. So when that sprite is clicked and the broadcast comes through play the game, we need a code when I receive play the game. Under looks, go to the front layer, so it's on top of the background, and also show. Under control, we need a forever block. Under variables, we need set to, and then we're going to control where the cards land. We want them landing inside the grid. So we need some X and Y coordinates. So I'm temporarily going to place the card almost to the border, but not quite. And I need these XY coordinates. So the X is minus 188. The Y is 108. Then the bottom, so it can't go past this one, and it's 186 on X, and it's a positive number, and the Y is minus 103. So we need to pick those up. Let's just place it back where we want it. So when I receive the game, we need those coordinates to tell it where to land inside the white squares. This is how we control it. So we're going under motion. We need, actually let's just take that variable out for a second. We need set X and then let me just take this one back. Under variables we want a one that says the minimum X coordinate. So minimum X will be, and take the tick out, and we also need an operator which will be something plus. So this one, and back under variables we need the minimum X coordinate, which will be this one up here, minimum X, and then under operators pick a random place within the X coordinates from this top one to that top one. So this is where our X coordinates come from. From the first X coordinates was minus 188, which was up here, and then the next X coordinate was down here, and that was 186. So place your card randomly within these squares, X coordinate and X coordinate. Then we need to duplicate this. So under motion set Y to, then we need an operator of the something plus something. We need the variable, and we need to make one for the minimum Y. Minimum Y. And untick that. So minimum Y coordinates, and then operator. You can pick a random square within these coordinates I'm going to set to. So the Y coordinate was 108, which was up here, and then down here it was minus 103. Then under control, we're going to do a if and then if. So this makes the cards that have been cloned randomly be placed in a square, but we've got to tell it when to stop. And how does it know to stop on a white space? At the moment, we've just said stop randomly within the coordinates. So we've got to put in a code. So under if, and then under operators, and we need this not. And we say if it's not touching a red color, a green color, or a black, we don't want it to land on a black area, we want it to land on white. So we're saying if it's not touching red, green, or black. And to pick up the colors is under sensing and touching color. But we need to list 3 colors. So under operators, we need the one that says or, this or that. It's not touching this or that. So picking up the sensing and touching color. And if we click on the color and then do a eyedropper and pick up the red first, so that's the red. Then we've got 2 more colors, so this one's only got 1 more space. What we need to do is pick up another or. Then back on sensing, touching color. So again it's saying if not touching red or not touching, and then choose the eyedropper and the green. And the last color, or not touching, and click in here in the eyedropper, and we want the black. So that's how you get your 3 colors. Let's go over this code again. When I receive play the game, go to the front layer and show. Then you're going to randomly place yourself, the card, anywhere between these coordinates, the XY coordinates, and not touching red, green, or black. And they land beautifully within the white squares. So if that happens, then what do I do? We go to variables, control, and we say stop, and we say stop this script, stop this script. Alright, let's see what this looks like so far with just these 3 sprites. Voila, this is, oh, I've got a spelling mistake. You need to click on a Spanish word and its matching numeral to make a pair. When you make a matching pair, the cards will disappear. If the match is an incorrect pairing, you will be asked to try again. To begin the game, click on the badge on my shirt. Have fun. There's the shuffle, and they land within the squares. Now we could make these a little bit bigger, so the cards itself a little bit bigger, so they land a little bit nicer in the squares. So let's try that. Let's place this up in here. Let's try 110. Just experimenting. 120. That looks quite nice. So what I'm going to do is under when the green flag is clicked, I'm actually going to say come in at size 120. So under motion it should be, or looks, sorry, looks, and set size to 120. Alright, let's try that again, and let me fix up Abby's spelling mistake in here. Alright, and play again. Hola, this is a matching cards game. When the game starts, the cards at the top right will be shuffled and placed in a white square. You need to click on a Spanish word and its matching numeral to make a pair. When you make a matching pair, the cards will disappear. If the match is an incorrect pairing, you will be asked to try again. To begin the game, click on the badge on my shirt. Have fun. Yes, I think that's much nicer when they come in at 120%. They sit nicer in the white squares. And again, this is just part 1 of a 2-part series. In the next part 2, we're going to create the sprite for the Spanish words and place the code on it for when the pairing is made, and then how do we make the cards disappear. So I'll see you in the next lesson of part 2, and have fun creating part 1. Thank you for watching.